This episode has been brought to you by the National Advertising Challenge. Are you creative? Do you love a challenge? NAC is a brief-based competition where brands ask for big ideas to help solve their biggest marketing challenges. Leading creative directors judge the ideas. Winners get the cash. Learn more at nationaladvertisingchallenge.com.
When I talk to colleges, I always say, okay, in a show of hands, how many people want to get into the creative department? And, it'll be 3/4 of the room. And I'll say, how many people want to get into the account service department, the strategy department? It'll be a smaller amount of hands. And I'll always say to them, what we need in this business are more strategists. Like, it's great that there's a lot of creative people in the room, but we need strategy. Because Steve, how many times in your career were you ever given just a kick-ass strategy?
Right.
Like, honestly,
Yeah.
like you could almost count it on two hands, maybe, right?
Yeah.
And of the thousands of commercials you've done, how few times it was an insight. One of my favorite stories about that, just to emphasize what I mean by that, is when Coffee Crisp came out, or it was out and it wanted to really, grab more market share. They looked at the candy category, the candy bar category, and everybody was really in the same little piece of real estate, which was a treat. Like, it's just a candy chocolate treat. And so somebody very smart at their agency came up with the strategy that it was and it became their slogan, a nice light snack.
Coffee Crisp makes a nice light snack. It's like they say.
A treat is probably weekly, but a snack is daily. And when they made that little turn in their marketing, that little turn in their strategy, they quadrupled sales, because you can have a snack at 11 o'clock before lunch, or at 3 o'clock before dinner, or when you're out shopping and need a little hit, or when you're working out on the way home. Like, there was so many opportunities for a snack that were so different than a treat, which sounds like maybe at the end of the week I'll treat myself, that just quadrupled sales, and nothing changed about the bar. It was just the strategy that changed. And that's just a small story to just, emphasize what I'm talking about, how a strategic insight can mean everything to a brand. And I can't get enough of that.
And I think, the running theme of our talk, today about writing is the power of words. I mean, you have a great story about when Vegas made the move from changing the word gambling to gaming, what a huge impact that made. I can remember a great campaign for Lee Jeans where talking to the writers who did that, and the brief could have said that Lee Jeans were durable, but the word they used was indestructible. The power of those two things. I mean, maybe you could share that Vegas gaming story, because I think again, it's just a slight change. I mean, in that instance, a couple letters, and it made a giant difference in the way that people perceive Vegas.
Well, Vegas couldn't get a lot of policies changed, or they couldn't get a lot of allowances from the government, because gambling had such a bad connotation for many reasons. Like, there was the whole, I guess, the mob aspect of gambling, and that people could lose a lot of their revenue, or if you're addicted to gambling, that's a major problem. So everything about gambling was unsavory. So somewhere along the line, Las Vegas, which is a very smart city, if you look at a lot of the things they've done, including their long-running What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas, which I think is one of the great tourism campaigns of all time. They changed the nomenclature to go from gambling to gaming. And literally, when they started calling it gaming, they got all sorts of allowances from the government. Like, it was like a whole series of doors opened. They got a series of green lights, as far as they could see, just on that one. Even whiskeys were out of favor for a long time, because whiskey had that life-wrecking sound to it. And then it became spirits. And then there's a whole spirits section in your LCBO, not a whiskey section. And it just is a small little, word changes can make a huge difference. So as writers, and this, Steve, too, that you're always searching for that perfect word that has that just shade of a difference that makes all the difference to that communication. And that's always the eternal hunt, is for exactly the right word.